How you doing? Want to make a quick video and give some pointers on keeping Chamaecyparis pisefera, this false cypress, on keeping it alive if you decide you're going to pot it. So I originally had 3 plants in the ground. This is one. I've had it for 10 years now. When I first got it, it was just a very, very small plant. This last year or two, I haven't pruned it at all. I just let it grow. I did repot it, and the way I did it, because I've had it potted since 2020, on this repotting, when I took it out, which it's already reestablished in this pot, when I took it out, I actually, the roots were so thick that I took an axe to the roots. I was only confident in doing that because this plant has proven to be pretty hardy in the time that it's been in this pot. So this plant here is the parent of the 3 that are over there. And this one here is the oldest. It's been rooted since about 2020, and I put it in that pot in October 2020, and it hasn't been repotted yet. I've only pruned it once, but in the last 2 years, I've just been letting it grow so that the trunk thickens up, which it has, and it's just to ensure that the plant is fully adapted to being in that pot. And the reason I do that is because I learned early on that in the beginning, if you take one of these out of the ground, pot it, root prune it, and give it a trim, it's a pretty good chance that it's not going to survive. I had tried to produce about 100 cuttings from this, between this tree and my other 2, and between everything I did plus the root pruning, this was the only one that survived. So I'll take you around so you can see the canopy now, because it's pretty much growing the way I want it, which is I wanted it just full. I wanted it to look like a cross between an umbrella and a big old afro, and it's pretty much done that. So I can show you. So I'm at one end of it, and there's my hand. Can only reach halfway across, and there's still more to go. It is just massive. And during the growing season, it has this very bright, and sometimes it'll get lemony yellow, but it's a very bright color. Now, when this tree goes dormant, it looks like it's dead. It gets this very ugly brownish color, and sometimes it'll start shedding, and you'll just have to cut the dead parts off. But it's actually, the tree is still alive, but it is just massive and very, very vigorous and growing. So to start with this one, I'll take you around so you can see the trunk on it. It's a twin trunk. This was a hardwood cutting. When I first took it, I kept it in gardening soil when I first took the cutting, and out of all the cuttings I had taken, like I said, I had 100. This was the only one that survived. And I took it out of that cup, put it in this pot October 2020, and it hasn't been taken out since. And I have trimmed it once, but I then decided that I was just gonna let it grow wild before I styled it. And so all my styling is going to be clip and grow. So take you around so you can see the front. And so in looking at this from the front, there's 2 separate branches there. And then once I trim this, it has a beautiful triangular profile. But right now, I'm not going to trim it again until probably February, right before the new growing season. Same with the parent plant. I probably won't trim it again until February. This one here is a small one that I just potted. This one just was put in this pot this year, and the trunk on it has already hardened up. It's already matured. I used to have, excuse me for a minute, I used to have 3 of these, 3 others. I had to take this cutting because my other 3 died because I had gone on vacation and they weren't watered properly. So I'm starting a new composition with this one, and I'm just letting it grow wild before I style it. But I'm very pleased with the look of this trunk. It's very, and it thickened up quickly. What I did different with this one versus the other ones is I really fertilized this one. I used a solid fertilizer, and then 2 months into the growing season, I started supplementing with a liquid fertilizer. And this where at one point it was like this, it's now hardened up and it's thickened up. So again, I'll go ahead and do the design on this in February, right before the new growing season. Now, with the 4th one, this is another style that I tried to do here. Let me see. So this was really small when I first put it in here, and again with it, it's 2 cuttings here. And what I decided to do with it is to let it really flare out to fill up the oval pattern of this pot. I want to move this big one. Give me 1 second. I'm going to move this big one just so you can get a better idea of what I'm going for here. That way you're only looking at it. So this is the front profile here. All right. So here's the front profile. So all of this is all new growth from this year. And here's the second cutting. So these are 2 cuttings I took again from the parent tree. And I potted them straight in here once I took them. They've always just been living in this pot. So I haven't done any trimming on it yet. I've just been letting it grow. Let the roots get established. The roots are doing really well. I've even got surface roots here. And again with this cutting, it was a hardwood cutting that I fertilized with a rock fertilizer and supplemented later in the growing season with a liquid fertilizer. So I'll probably will do its first design next year. But the things you have to know about these Chamaecyparis pisefera is that you have to feed them quickly. Whatever you're going to do, it has to be very, very gentle. And they must be cared for. They must be watered regularly. They will not stand drought at all once they're in this pot. If it dries out for any length of time, they're going to die. Again, if you do too much to them, they'll die. And what I'll do at the end of this video, if I have some, I think I have early pictures of the original plant and of that one. of where they started versus where they are now. And I'll put those at the end of the video so you can see them. That's if you're trying to do it. Now, when you may make a different decision on doing your design and what you want to do with your plant, you may want to keep it in a relatively different shape while it's in your pot. That's totally up to you. I just chose to first, I'm gonna get these roots developed first, and then I will worry about the design that I'm going for, the look that I'm going for with the art later on. So that's all I have for you. I hope that you had a really good year. We're starting to get close to fall with summer ending. So the plants are going to start changing colors. I have some of my plants, my sweet gum, are already starting to change color. They get this real deep burgundy. And I'm going to tell you, I wish all of my other two parent Chamaecyparis that I had, they died at the seventh and eighth year that I had them. I wish they survived like this one did, because this one looks exactly like I wanted, this big umbrella canopy. I've often found praying mantises in here hunting. All right, have a nice evening and have a beautiful fall. So this is December 2019, and this plant here is dead. So this, hold on, let me do something. Turn that off. So with this plant here, this is the plant that I have left. So this is the day after I put it in its original pot, and it survived. This was my first attempt at doing anything similar to bonsai, and I was basically working with what I had in my yard. And from there it's grown to collecting seeds, and now I have probably 100 trees. So this picture here was the first picture I ever took of that twin trunk Chamaecyparis right here. This is spring of 2020. So I'll show you a picture of the original parent plant right after I had potted it next. So this is that twin trunk. All right, so this is a photo from October 2020. And as I had said before, that plant has been in that pot this whole time. I've never repotted it. And this is from what this is the actual, about, I would say 9 days after I repotted it, I took it out of this cup and put it in this pot. So you can see how it's changed. I originally, when I potted it, I was doing a rock over root, and it's actually still sitting on that same rock. It's somewhat settled down, but you can see how skinny it is and how little foliage is on the plant. So I've just been letting that trunk get thicker and letting the roots grow. And this picture is from April 2021. So these are 3 Chamaecyparis pisefera. And this is from April, let me check again to make sure, March 2021. This plant here That plant there died.